Hi, and welcome to College Planning Untangled, where we help simplify the lives of our families that are shipping kids off to college. I'm Kristen Clark. I'm a career exploration coach for 16 to 26-year-olds, and I'm here with Bobby Hood, who is in the busy weeks of
Mhm.
helping kids plan for SAT and ACTs. Bobby, hey, how are things going?
Just great. Yeah, everybody's getting ready for that last test, the ACT, this Saturday. And so, yeah, lots of students this week. It's very exciting.
Yeah, so when you say last tests, I'm assuming we're not talking
hmm
about recent grads. We're talking about juniors moving into their senior year?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, it's the last test of junior year. There is one in July for the ACT and one in August. So kind of starting up the next year of tests. So just kind of the end of the school year, right? Everybody's taking their AP exams. They're done with school. They got like that 1 week where they can prepare for the tests, and focus on them. Just nice.
Got it. Yeah, and ready for their summer.
Mhm.
They've gotta be itching to get going, right?
Absolutely. But
Alright.
yeah, we've also got all these new grads that are getting ready to start college in the fall, right?
And an exciting time. Everybody gets, it's you know how there's this, all this emotion going on where they're excited, they're
hmm
scared, they're closing down, stuff and getting ready to
hmm
to move on. So, we wanted today to focus on helping parents with prepping their kids for college. And Bobby, I
Right,
got to tell you, I don't think enough people do this part. And it's
right.
really about kind of talking through what to expect when they get to college.
Absolutely, right. And we know the statistics aren't good, right? Students who aren't prepared, they don't make it through the first year, right? They don't come back.
Right, 30%.
Oh my
Right. So,
gosh.
guys, one third of kids that go to college don't get to their sophomore year.
Wow.
So that's a big number, and I think that I'm glad you brought it up, Bob, because that's the reason for this conversation is
Mhm.
how do we keep your kiddo from being one of that 30% that gets to college and goes, "Oh, hell no. This
Yeah,
isn't for me." So
absolutely.
having yeah.
And I think a lot of people they think, oh, well, that would happen to other people's kids, but not mine. Right. But I mean, that number's big.
Oh, for sure.
you know.
It's a big number, and, I think people are like, "Oh, they'll figure it out." Obviously, they're not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were just 3, I think, key activities. Having gone through it a couple times with my kiddos and obviously
Yep.
working with a lot of this age group that either do it well and successfully or those that, just struggle with it. So we wanted to talk about having those conversations. The very first thing, Bobby, is just talking about the fact that this year is hard, right? You go
hmm
to college and you get on campus, and all of a sudden you're doing all these things that you've never had to do. You're
hmm
eating food that you're not used to eating. There's a lot of it, but you're not used to
Yep.
the types of food. You are staying in a room with somebody that you may not have ever met before. And
hmm
you might be in the same physical room with them sleeping, right? In different beds, hopefully. Um, and you're having to completely figure out every bit and bite of your time, which these kids are not used to.
yeah, managing your own schedule, having to schedule your own exercising, your own studying, and all that, right? Just deciding to go to class, having to decide nobody's waking
Yes.
you up, nobody's getting you out of bed, right?
You're filling in every ounce of time, and you have to do that, and it's exhausting at first when you're not
Mhm.
used to it. So having that conversation with your student and say, "Hey, listen, this is what you're walking into," and then talking about how do you want to mitigate that,
Mhm.
right? If food's your issue, it's like, okay, then, why don't you plan on, going to the salad bar or doing this or doing that, but actually just kind of walking through. And it sounds so elementary to
Right.
us, but to them, it's not. The
Yeah.
whole idea of, hey, you're going to be in the room with this person. They don't have to be your best friend.
Mhm. Right.
They're just your roommate at this point. Hey, if you become best friends, that's a cherry on top, but don't expect it.
Yeah.
So just and I think we forget, Bobby, because it's been so long since we've been to college, how hard that first year was. That truly
Mhm.
was. So that's the first thing is having that conversation. Anything you think we need to add for our viewers on that one?
No, I mean that's this just like talking about it is the big first
And we
step,
lost
right?
Bobby for a second, so I'm going
Okay.
to keep going.
Sure.
The second part is this: building friendships is key. In
Mhm.
fact, I would tell you of anything that you do for your soon to be college student is talk to them about how to make friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you think about it, Bobby, a lot of these kids have been going to school with the same people from kindergarten, middle school, or elementary, middle school,
Mhm.
high school, and they always had kind of a built-in little friend group.
Mhm.
They could be going someplace where they know nobody, or they might know somebody from their high school, but they weren't in their friend group. So, how to make friends?
Yeah, and it's not the same as it was in high school, right? Where maybe they were just whoever played on your little sports team or whoever was sat with you in this class, right? But in college, you have to actively go and find friends, right?
You for sure do. And, this is another one that they may kiss a few frogs before they
Mhm.
find their people, and that's okay too. One of the tricks that I always tell my parents to pass down to their kids is with your roommate, and keep in mind, everybody's in the same boat, right? Everybody's looking
Mhm.
for their friend group. So take a notepad, the sticky notes, and do things like, hey, room 429 is going to go to a movie Friday night at 7. Meet us here if you want to go.
Mhm.
And you go and you put that little sticky note on everybody's room,
Mhm.
on your floor. And that's how you get people, kind of at least congregating and getting to
Mhm.
know you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so that's actively going out and doing things. And also part of it is that like uh it might be worth, that like you can make the choice to like sort of reinvent yourself and have a different kind of friend group than you had in high school, right? And
Yes.
maybe you don't want to go by like, my brother was Tommy and then he decided to be Tom when he was in college, right? But you need to decide that before you start, right? Don't try to figure it out on the fly, right? Uh, but it's like, oh, I want to find a friend group that likes hiking. Well, go, join that group, right? I want to do more outdoor stuff than I did in high school, or whatever, right? But go and find those people, right? And especially one of the things that people don't realize is that in college, if it's a large enough size college, whatever weird nerd or hobby that you like, there's probably a club for that group, right? So if you want to join a board gaming group, there is one, right? Things like that, right?
Beekeeping, you
Yeah,
name it. And if
exactly.
there isn't a group, they let you make them.
Exactly. Right.
So, yeah. Here's the key again, Bobby,
Mhm.
having those conversations with your
Right.
kids before they go so that they're kind of revved up and prepped to do this. And we know this, we've talked about this day one. You don't wait, because the more you wait, the more you're seeing other people out there finding their people. And then
Mhm.
all of a sudden, those
Right.
friend groups are forming. So you got to just jump in and put yourself out there. And for a lot of kids, especially now, it's so hard. So
Absolutely.
getting them revved up for that and looking beforehand. These schools know
Right.
this.
See, that's the thing, right? Is so go and look at the list of groups, right? And also, it's easy to go in, they have orientation things and freshman fairs and things like that where all the groups, all the clubs will be representing, and it's easy to kind of be jaded and think, "Oh, that's for that's not for me. Only the uncool people are going to go to that." Like, no, go to those things, right? That's where you're going to meet people that you're going to be friends with 30 years later.
For sure. For sure. And I can't state it enough. Everybody's in the same boat you are,
Mhm. Right.
not knowing people. And some
Yep.
people make it look super easy.
Right.
And trust me, it's not,
Yep.
right? Um, I put into the chat my download that helps you with all of these things,
Right.
and talking about going in and even talking to your professors. That's a form of community,
Mhm.
that for the kids to go, I am connected to this college because I have a professor that cares about me. So
Yeah.
that's another activity that you can talk to them about. Yeah, we could talk about this for hours because
Yeah,
it's
sure.
that important. But I think the last piece is really helping your child understand why they're going to college.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me break this down. Most kids that I talk to, they're like, well, this is the next thing. I'm checking
Mhm.
that box because this is what I'm supposed to do. And if they go to college and they're just trying to figure it out as they go, as far as why am I here? What am I trying to accomplish? I'll tell you, Bobby, that 30% box, it's tough for them to not be in that box.
That's where those students were. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So for parents, don't find yourself going, you're good. You can figure this out as you go.
Mm.
Because I want you to think about this. How many times have you done a 4-year project plus, because we know it's taking kids 5.5 years to get their 4-year
Mhm.
degrees. How many times have you walked into a 4-year project and had no idea why you were there?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, that
You
doesn't work.
don't.
Yeah.
So to do that to our kids and to go, you'll be fine. The reality is they're looking for a plan. They want a plan,
Mhm.
right? So it is super uncomfortable for them to walk in and go, I don't know what the end goal is.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
And
having
that's what
those,
you can help the students with is if they can take your class and figure out what kind of major, what kind of career would be the right place for them to be. And then they will know what they're walking into, at least have it narrowed down to a few choices, right?
right. And I usually get them within a category. So
Mhm.
at least starting out, they go, you know what? I want to be in the medical field, or I want to be in the engineering field, or I kind of really want to be in that agriculture area. I just don't quite know what it is, but we're
Right.
pushing them in the right direction to get started so that when that first year does get tough, Bobby, they can go, but you know what? I can do this. I've got the grit to do this because I know why I'm here.
Absolutely. And they're not just doing it because, oh, dad did this or mom did this or this sounds like a cool career. It's because they know their own personality would match with them.
Right. And it looks interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So those 3 key things, having those conversations prior to your new grad going off to college are key. And if you've got any questions about this, please feel free to reach out to either Bobby or I. We're always happy to, hear what you have to say and listen to
Absolutely.
some of the concerns that you have, because if we don't know, we're going to get you to the right people.
Absolutely.
All
All
right.
right. Well, have a great week. See you
All
next
right.
time.
Thanks, Bobby.
All right. Bye bye.